What aspects of the Jewish community does this kosher business affect?
Aspects of the community.
So like, who purchases the food, and like what types of kashrut do like?
We serve the whole Jewish community for all of Ottawa because there is no other kosher deli, meat department, bakery. There is no other kosher butcher around. We're the only ones. There's Rito Bakery and stuff like that. Some places carry kosher products, but we're the only full-service store.
We got a butcher and we got a bakery and everything, so it all comes together here.
Okay. So you mentioned that there's no other butcheries or anything that serves kosher meat?
No full-service kosher store, yes.
So none of the same services are available anywhere else?
No, not meat cut to order. You can find tray pack cut in some stores, so they have to ship it in from either Montreal or Toronto. You don't get to pick what you want. So somebody could come up to the counter here and ask me, I want a 3-bone rib roast, and I'll cut it for them.
Right.
You can't do that when you go to Walmart or another store because it's what it is in the counter and you don't have any other options. So you take what they offer or you don't get anything.
Right, okay. So why is this business unique for the community?
Probably because we are the only full-service kosher store in Ottawa.
Right.
Because they have no other options if they want to shop one place to get everything.
We got customers from like Orleans who come here and like Rockland.
Arn Pryor.
So,
we actually have somebody coming from Kingston on occasion.
Wow.
Yeah.
So like if they want kosher food, they have to come here or Toronto or
Montreal. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And do you guys have any challenges that you can have to overcome by selling the only kosher food? It's like the only place to.
I wouldn't say so much challenges of selling the food. The challenge would be having it available when the people want it. That's the challenge. Not always having what they're looking for at the time they're looking.
So like the Jewish holidays, it gets really busy and you may not have everything.
It can get crazy because of, yes. So Shavuot or whatever, if it falls on a Monday or a Tuesday, then because of the way the holiday falls, the plant has to close, and then they're not open that day, and the customers come in and wonder, well, Shavuot's over, where's my chicken? Well, nobody was in the night before to do slaughtering because they were all doing their religious holiday.
Right.
So there are those kind of bumps in the road, so to speak.
Okay, and is kosher food more expensive than regular food?
Yes, it's more expensive and it's cleaner, more healthy.
Okay. Is it like less fat or anything, or is it just like the way it's
not necessarily slaughtered? It's the way it's slaughtered, and they won't accept any meat that's defective on the outside or inside. So cow could have a perfect cow, chicken, whatever animal that's kosher, could look perfectly fine on the outside. When they slaughter it, they open it up, say there's spots on the lungs or some abnormality with the heart or something like that, they won't accept it. That's regular meat, so it's cleaner, and then it's soaked in salt water.
Okay.
So they're really sticklers about blood.
So it's more expensive, but it's worth it.
Yes, especially if you're looking at it as a health standpoint.
Right. All right, I think that's all my questions.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Where do you purchase your kosher food?
I'd say most of the kosher food that we get is from Loblaws. It's all right there, and I'm lazy. I don't want to run around everywhere, so I just get everything there.
Why do you keep kosher?
Why do I keep kosher? Well, it's a fundamental part of Jewish life, and I would say that for most people who identify as being observant, it's kind of one of the basic things that you first start with. The Torah commands the Jews to keep these different laws about dietary restrictions. It doesn't say why, but Hashem gives these rules and we're supposed to follow them. So when I became observant, keeping kosher was the first thing that I started.
And what do you take into consideration when you buy food for the NCSY events?
When I buy food for NCSY events, I'm looking at a few different things. Number one, that it should be something that people want to eat. Like, I'm not going to show up with like cabbage rolls or something. I mean, people might like that, but so the other thing is, of course, that it's kosher. And the third thing is budget, because we have a very strict budget for how much we're allowed to spend on food. So we try to get the best food within our budget.
Are there any challenges of keeping kosher? And if there are, what are they?
Well, we live in Ottawa, so the most obvious choice of keeping kosher, the most obvious problem with keeping kosher here is that we don't have any restaurants.
Yeah.
So that means you have to cook everything yourself. And it makes it really challenging. You can't just like take a night off, you know, you have to drive to Montreal if you want to go out to eat. So that's really hard.
Well, what are your thoughts on like the lack of kosher restaurants in Ottawa?
The lack of kosher restaurants. Well, I understand why, because the Orthodox community here is very small. And I would say that even when there was, you know, it seems like there'd be a kosher place and then it closed down, and then there'd be a kosher place and it closed down. Not enough of the community was supporting it, either because the food was gross or their family, they had too many kids and it was too expensive to buy there for their whole family. So it would be great if we had something like in Houston, where I'm from Houston, Texas. The community is a lot larger than it is here, but the Orthodox community there is small. What they did is they approached some vegetarian restaurants, and so like an Asian one, an Indian one, there's 2 kosher Indian ones. South India, they're vegetarians, they don't have any meat. So there was like 1 or 2 dairy products on their menu, and they came in there and made everything kosher, and then we could have awesome Indian food. And then there's an Asian place there. So it would be great if Ottawa could do something like that here. But again, it would have to, the people who own the restaurant have to put a lot of money into it. They have to change over many times all of their plates. They have to like kosher, like boil all of their cutlery. It's a big expense for them, and they have to see the payoff. So, you know, that's what it is living in a small community, but it's not the end of the world.
Have you been kosher your whole life? And if not, why?
Yeah, I wasn't kosher growing up, and then when I was in university, I started kind of dabbling in Shabbat and dabbling in kosher, but it was really challenging. I was in school at the University of Texas, and there's nothing there. There wasn't a kosher loblaws, there wasn't anything. That was like the, you know, gefilte fish in the jar, like the floating things in the borscht, like that was our kosher section. So I dabbled in keeping meat and dairy separate. And it was hard, and I wasn't successful at that time of my life, but later, after I graduated, I went to Israel, and then I really got inspired and decided to like go hardcore.